Hey everyone, next character for the Ranger's Apprentice. We had Halt last week, and now for his apprentice. Okay, so if you have a guess, we're talking about Will, the Ranger's apprentice. Gotta talk about him. I have book 2 this week. If you keep in track, I had book 8 last week, book 2 this week. So we're going to talk about Will. And Will is fun to talk about because he doesn't really have a backstory. The entire series is his backstory. Halt could have had his own series if he had to, but this is like where we get everything, where he turns into the character at the end where he's the one now that is like Halt, where he's mentioning things. Except now we actually know what he's talking about, where either with Hulk or wait, what happened with that one? So like, we start off and he's just this kid. He doesn't really know what's gonna happen to him because he's in like this ward, which is like their version of a orphanage, and they're gonna be chosen for apprenticeships, and he wants to go to battle school. Okay, and it kind of makes sense why, because he assumed his dad was a knight or like some man-at-arms person, because all this note that was left with him said his dad fought in this huge battle against this evil guy and died. We find out later what he really was, but hey, it's like a good reason why. But then when he's chosen for Rangers, now it gets interesting. I like how he goes from really naive, like not really thinking, because as I mentioned last week, Halt's teaching techniques. He's like, it's a bow. Of course, everyone knows how to use a bow. Goes to shoot it, ricochets off his arm, and he's like, that hurt. And Halt's just like, see, you should wait. Even when he got Tug, and I'm going to talk about Tug too, because they're a pair, okay? You've got to talk about them together, okay? They are a pair. So, he goes from being this kid who's kind of naive and just really learning like about everything to this big ranger, like that is like legendary, okay? Like the student really does become the master in this one. Especially because there is a part where he actually does catch Halt off guard, and you're just like, yes, victory for Will. So, like, with Will, I like that he is like that. He is, like, naive, and then as he starts going, he starts using his brain, and it's fun to see, like, him from other perspectives, too. Because the whole first book, you saw it from his perspective. His and Horace's, okay? But you saw it from his perspective, the training of it, what he thought. You did go back to his perspective too, and everything, and he really doubts himself all the time, but he just keeps reminding himself of like his training, and he remembers it, where everyone else, every time we read about someone else, they're like, whoa, you can do that? You thought that far ahead? You have like a backup plan for the backup plan for the backup plan. He has everything covered. He will figure anything out, and that is the best part of this. And I really do like how they begin to trust him and rely on him more. Too, if you like in the 7th one, if you've ever read the 7th, if you guys have read this, in the 7th one, like they all get captured and they're like, oh no, and then he's just like, Halt's like, don't worry, Will is still out there. It's like, Will is out there. Thank you for noticing. Someone noticed. So, like I said, I really like that. I like how we get to see his progression, too. He doesn't really know much of his past, but then he starts his training. Like, this one comes, and it's like, you are a ranger by this point. You are a ranger. As he goes off to Scandinavia, I keep calling it that. So, that frozen land with everything. You really see him trying to care for her. Like, the 3rd one is really where we first kind of, like, see his true training kick in, because he's just moving like a ghost, and she's like, whoa there. And I love that he recovered from that. Okay, I love that he recovered from that. I like the relationship he built with Halt, like the father-son relationship. Really, really love that. As he gets older, let's talk about as he gets older, because this, like I said, this is a progression. By the time we are done with the series, he's like as old as Halt was in the first one. So we saw like a good, I want to say 20, 30 years in 12 books. So like in the last one, now he's getting older. As he's getting older, he does gain more confidence, and he starts acting like Halt so much more. Okay? Like, that's literally the student becoming the master, because he literally, like, seems like Halt. I questioned it for a little bit, and I'm not too sure how I like how bitter he gets. I get that he would be bitter, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't know if he would be that bitter as, like, as he was in it, because he did get pretty bitter, like, near as bad as Halt did when, like, at the end of this one, when Will went missing, he got as bad as Halt, and was just completely ignoring everything, trying to find this guy. And as always, when you're not trying, you find him. That freaked me out when he nearly died in the 12th one. Okay, this is gonna be spoiler filled, so that freaked me out. I just didn't feel like he would be that bitter. It seems weird to me, because it never really hit me that he was that old until they were like, let's give him an apprentice, and I was like, he's that old? Wow, because even in the 10th one, he still seemed like, a happy person. Like, I was assuming by then he was maybe, like, closer to 30, but still, he was, like, happy person going, like, wait, they named me after their word butterfly? Butterfly? Jojo? That was beautiful, okay? That was butterfly? That was funny, okay? Humor in these books. Humor. So, I do like that like I said, I like that we got to see the progression of Will throughout all of this. Okay, and like all the relationships he built with two. How like you saw his friendship with Horace grow in the first one, because he really kind of does just take control. He just goes on, I'm a ranger. I got to do this. Like, this is my job. This is what I got to do. And he really does act like it. He's a nice guy too. I do like the fact that he's a nice guy. You just don't cross him or try to fight him ever. Okay, and I love his relationship with Tug. That relationship is just beautiful. I love, like, that's what part of the reason why my 7th one's the favorite, because of that race that happens where he's like, oh, we lost, Tug, we went too early, oh, we lost, I lost, and then Tug's just like, watch this, and he goes. And that was amazing, and those horses are smart. Okay, they, like, really a reflection of him, and I like how smart he is, because really, he's coming up with most of these plans. Like, Halt does some, but then, since the series is about Will, he really does come up with a lot of great plans. Really, a lot of great plans. In every book, it's like he comes up with these plans, and he knows what he needs to do, which is, I love that, okay? I love that about him. He knows what he needs to do. In the first one, he was like, I need to kill this thing. Fire, it's his only weakness. Fire, arrow, let's go. Okay, in the second one, he's like, I can't leave her behind. I gotta do this. Okay? And he just knows what he needs to do, and I like that about him. Okay, really, I do like I like the character Will. Okay, I really do like him. I like how you do see the contrast between him and Halt. Like I said, how he was naive about it, and he really kind of grew into himself as the series continued and went on. He really did grow into himself and kind of realized, like, the reality of everything, and got really smart. So that's Will for you. He's a good character, and there's a lot of twists and turns, and you should, like, the relationships he builds are just incredible. Incredible. His knowledge is incredible. The way he, like, remembers things from previous books is really awesome, and it's like, just, it's great to see, because you don't really see that many flashbacks to other books where they're like, oh, hey, hey, wait, we're near this person, he could help, but rarely it's like, that's from 2 books ago, and you don't really see that much, especially in a series where it jumps years. So I like that this is like his backstory. This series is Will's backstory, okay? it is his backstory, which is awesome. Okay, he is a lovable guy, and you get his backstory in here, and he starts off naive, but he really grows into himself. He really does, and he becomes a great ranger, and like a legendary one too, which honestly just is really awesome, especially if you read it, because you're just like, wow, all these people are looking up to him, and you remember the first book when he was just like a naive little kid. Okay, a naive little teenager, but still, that was beautiful. I do like it. So the ranger lesson for this week is imagine it. Okay, one thing that they always describe doing, and that they're told to do, is, especially when they're shooting, is actually imagine it in flight. Taking all your surroundings and imagine every like scenario. Just see it in your mind going towards your target. And if you're like, I don't do archery, well, you could use that anytime you throw something, softball, baseball, basketball, anything, just to get you prepared. Like, you can see yourself doing it, you can do it. That's the gist of it. Sorry for this weird sudden lighting, by the way. So yeah, next week we're going to talk about Horace, who is his frenemy. It's like weird. They start off enemies, but then they're friends. Okay, but that's all for today. That is Will. You should really pick up this series. Like I said last time, it's an easy read, a nice, easy, quick read. Second one, obviously not that long, not that big. Like if you're waiting for a book to come out, like I am, or if you run out of books to read, you should just read this series, because it's rare that we actually get a series with the character's backstory, and it's not like it's his life. It's his entire life, and he goes on so many adventures. It is really incredible how we get to see him grow into the ranger that he ends up and turns out to be. So that's all for this week. Next week is Horace, as I've said. And if you know a character from this series that you would like me to talk about, let me know, because I'm kind of starting to just make groups, honestly. Because really, there's so many characters. I just gotta make some groups, okay? I'm making groups. So let me know if there's a character you want me to talk about specifically. Let me know if there's a book series you want me to read, so that I can get on that, because it's summer now. Really fun series, and it's funny. It is funny, okay? It's funny, it's adventurous, it keeps you interested. So, that's all for this week. Bye!